Bonjour, mon ami. You may perhaps have noticed that I am wearing a Canadian hat that is from the skiing the resort in Canada. Whose name I cannot remember because I was drunk when I was there. So, anyhow, why am I wearing this stupid hat? I'll tell you why I'm wearing this stupid hat. Everybody runs around saying, well, stop complaining about the weather. Everybody complains about the weather, but nobody does anything about it. Well, I'm doing something about it. I am wearing this hat to remind God that, hey, let's have a little winter weather here, okay? Because it's way too hot. And I'll get enough of that after I die. In the meantime, I'd like to enjoy some cooler weather. So I put this hat on to remind him about winter because he's old. He's older than I am. Not much, but he is older. Even his kid, Jesus, is older than I am. Not much. We went to high school together. He was a class ahead of me. He's a real jerk. But anyway, I don't want to get into that. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was confusing with Donald Trump. But Donald Trump wasn't, he was a year behind me. So I was sandwiched between Jesus on the one hand, and Joe Biden, who was even older than Jesus, Donald Trump on the other, and I'm in the middle. And I was of that group, I was the only decent person there. Well, God wasn't a person, so he doesn't count. Anyway, enough of this nonsense about religion because I know when I start talking about God and everything, I lose you people because you're not holy. You're a bunch of atheists. It's disgusting. So, I'm wearing this to tell God to remember about winter. Come on, old man, wake up. Let's cool things off a little bit. I'm down here in Florida and it's not pleasant. All right? Thanks. Now we got that out of the way. I can take this hat off, but if I do, my hair's a mess, and then you'll say, that is not fashionable. Which brings me to the Democratic Convention. If you weren't moved by that Democratic Convention, you either didn't watch it, you're such a hardcore Republican that you're beyond savior, or you were drunk and passed out at the time. Third one is okay. That was the best convention I have seen since 1960. And 1960 was the best convention I saw since 1956. I've been watching these conventions for a long time. I didn't watch the one in 1948. I didn't watch the one in 1952. Why? Because we didn't have television, that's why. But we had a television by 1956, and we had a television in 1960. And in my family, it was a big deal. That was the only time we ever got together as a family, just my mom and dad and I. The only time we ever got together and didn't fight with each other. So we loved those conventions. The 1956 convention was terrific because that's when Jack Kennedy ran for vice president and lost by one vote or something, and they nominated Estes Kefauver, which I still don't know why they did that. And he was big on the crime commission where Bobby Kennedy was the counselor, and Jack Kennedy was on that commission. That's how Kefauver got noted. But he was from Tennessee. Democrats were going to win Tennessee anyway. Why they brought him along, I don't know. But that's when Jack Kennedy first became known to the Democratic Party, or people like us who followed politics even then. And I was only, 10 years, how old was I then? Well, I don't know. I was still pretty young then. I was like 40. So anyway, and then 1960 was when Jack Kennedy battled it out with Lyndon Johnson for the nomination. And of course Kennedy won, and we were all just thrilled to death about that. So that was a great convention. After that, I still watched them all, and I think I was in Mexico for a couple of them, so I missed those. But one of them. But when did I? Well, I don't need to reminisce on that. Anyway, after 1960, they got a little bit less fun. In particular, that horrible one in 1968 in Chicago was a disaster, and I actually didn't even vote in that election. I was so mad. So, be that as it may, this convention was almost letter perfect, and they finally did something that my dad used to complain about all the time, which is that the Republicans stole the flag. They'd get out there, they'd wave the flag. They still do it. I saw this Donald Trump's pathetic boat parade here the other day up here in Jupiter. There were a bunch of people who get in their boats and they get these huge Trump flags that are twice as big as their boats, and they all go from one spot down the intercoastal to another spot. It's a show of, I don't know what it's supposed to be. And I thought there'd be people cheering them along the way. There was nobody. It was just these sad people in their boats going down there. But they were playing that Lee Greenleaf stupid song, God Bless the USA. I'm proud to be an American, da-da-da-da, God bless the USA. In the meantime, they're playing this on their radios, all these people, these nutbags in their flotilla, and their candidate is out there telling everybody at every possible opportunity that the United States is pardon my expression, is a third world shithole. This country is in terrible, horrible shape. Basically, he's ashamed to be an American, and his people are playing Lee Greenleaf saying, I'm proud to be an American. Well, which is it? Are you proud to be an American, or are you disgusted to be an American? You know what the criteria is? If a Republican is in the White House, they're proud to be an American. If a Democrat's in the White House, it's the worst shithole that ever existed on the planet. And then people wonder why people like me have such disregard for the Republican Party. Not just the party itself, but those of you who support the party. Still love you. You're still friends of mine. I know lots of really great presidents, people who support Trump. But when it comes to politics, come on, folks, get a clue. Who are you supporting? A party that does nothing of substance except cut taxes for the wealthy? The last Republican president who didn't do that was Eisenhower. He went the other extreme. We can talk about that later when we get into more of an economic discussion. I know you people get bored when we do this, but nonetheless, I'm talking now, trying to stay focused so Ross doesn't get confused and lose track. Oops, too late. He fell asleep. Ross, wake up, get up, wake up here. Yeah, look at your screen. That's it. Yeah, it's me, Ed. I'm still here. Wake up. So, that's my buddy, Ross. So, anyway, Ross and the rest of you, my father used to get so upset with the Democrats because they wouldn't champion patriotism. Now, my dad was not a super patriot, and he hated the flag waving. He was a World War II bombardier navigator, highly decorated combat veteran. He then had a full career in the service. Sorry, Ross, in the military. Retired as a full colonel, stayed on as the civilian equivalent of a brigadier general, and he was big on service to the country. And he was big on patriotism, and it used to make him so damn mad that the Republicans were always out saying, yay, the flag, yay, America, while in the meantime opposing everything that the Democrats try to do to make this a better country, and the Democrats would just cede it to him. So this convention was terrific, and the star of that convention, you know who the star, there were two of them, the two stars of this convention, and if you didn't see it, go find some way to pull it back up, because it was really worth watching. It was inspirational, dare I say it. Were these two grand nieces of Kamala Harris. I heard them on the radio telling everybody how to pronounce her name, and then I saw them on the TV. Honest to God, they're the most adorable couple of kids I've ever seen. They were cuter than I was when I was their age, and I was adorable. So I don't know what happened, and what kind of a snide comment is that? You're off you can't watch this anymore. Get out of here. I heard you. So. But they were just adorable. But they played the patriotic theme. They talked about how great America was. They talked about America. They talked about how proud they were to be Americans, as they should be, and as should you, even though I'm wearing the Canadian hat. But it was inspirational, seeing all those people. And the best word I could use to describe this campaign so far is energy. I have never seen such energy. And you know why? Because they have reached those of us who are the younger voters. They have reached out to us. For so long, people have just said, well, you young people don't vote. Well, we vote if you reach out to us. And so I can speak for all of us young folk. We've been inspired by this campaign, excited, energized, and you know what? They say, oh, it's going to be close, it's going to be razor close. All elections are razor close. Well, they're not all razor close. But this does remind me of when Kennedy ran in '60, because Nixon was well ahead of Kennedy. Nixon was the incumbent vice president from a very popular president, and Kennedy was pretty much unknown. But I saw that campaign pick up, particularly after Leviton, and then after the debates. Just all of a sudden, people just gravitated to Kennedy, not his policies. I don't even know what Kennedy's policies were, except on Kemoe and Mat-Su. And you probably don't even know what Kemoe and Mat-Su were, but I know because it was a big deal back in the 50s when the question was whether we were going to go to war with China over Formosa, or as you would call it, Taiwan. So that campaign took off like lightning, and it was because of Kennedy's personality, because he exhibited strength and energy and fun. And patriotism. Kennedy was also a World War II combat vet, as opposed to Nixon, who played poker in the South Pacific. And we won all the time because he cheated. Hello, does that sound familiar? So it was exciting, it was fun, but it was about the personality. And I don't care what you say about policies, and we can talk policy all day long. I think Republican economic policies have been uniformly disastrous, and Democrats' policies, starting with Roosevelt, really created the strength of an economy that we have today. But it's not about that policy. Hillary Clinton had thousands of white papers. She was going to bury Trump in a mountain of papers. This program for that, and this for this, and this for this. Firstly, 99% of these things that the president's proposed never become law anyway. So, but it was, who follows that stuff? Even, I follow these things. I didn't even follow what she was talking about. I after a while, lost interest. Couldn't keep up. Of course, I was practicing law at the time, but I'm still am, and I follow what's going on now. But that there's a mistake to think that these elections are determined by policies. They're determined by personalities. She's got personality. She's energized women like nothing I've ever seen since Elvis Presley and I used to perform together in Tennessee. Since then, I haven't seen anything getting women as excited as they are today. And those women, particularly younger women, and abortion is going to be a huge issue. And just a slight deviation on this, they tell people, what are the issues that most matter to you? And they put them, and they say, well, the number one, particularly Republican polls say the economy, and then it's the abortion, and then it's abortion. They don't measure intensity. They don't say, because the voter turnout is not a question of which do you think is the most important issue. It's also, and how intensely do you feel about that issue? So if you think it's the border, but the reality is, you're living in Kansas, and you don't see illegal immigrants flooding across the border. You live in California, and the illegals or whatever that you see crossing the border are basically, keeping your restaurants going, keeping your farms alive, keeping the car washes going. You get rid of all those illegal Mexicans in California, and California doesn't have an economy. So they may say, well, that's an issue of concern to them. But how passionately do they feel about that? That's the issue on which they're going to vote? Very seldom. But abortion, that's an issue that speaks directly to people in their everyday lives, and people are being really impacted by the abortion laws that states are enacting and enforcing in light of the Dobbs decision. So that's a huge motivator, and I think the people who are judging this race based on the old standards are going to be very surprised. I think, and it's not just wishful thinking, because I try to be objective about these things, I think that Kamala is going to blow him out, and essentially Trump's loss is going to fundamentally destroy the Republican Party as it is today, and maybe it'll go back to being the responsible party that it used to be, or maybe it'll just go away, and then the Democratic Party can split, and we can fight over that. But I think that Trump is finally bringing about in my opinion, the demise of the Republican Party. So we'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, God, get on this weather thing, will you? I'm too damn hot down here. And I heard that remark. You're God. You're not supposed to be sarcastic. I'm one of your creatures. You're not one of his creatures, but I am. Bye.